Good morning and welcome to Saturday morning here in the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. I'm Leona Dooley, and we're going to do a lot of cooking and chit chat, and we're just going to have a good time right here in the kitchen. So let's get started. And for those of you who are coming on, I say welcome to you. I'm so glad to have you. I hope that you're having an absolutely amazing day or evening, depending upon where you are. I'm certainly having a good time and enjoying every moment. I'm going to do a little mic check here to make sure I have good sound. And as you come on, introduce yourself, tell where you're from, and let everybody know you're here. So today we're going to start with a salad. And hello, Duncan Party of Six. Good morning. We're starting today with a salad, and it's a salad that I take to almost every picnic and every potluck. Even if I take something else, this salad is going to go. And if I'm having a picnic, this salad is going to be a part of it. This is the big guy's favorite salad. Hello, hello. Oh, I'm so glad that you're here today. Ronnie, good morning, good morning, good morning. All of you, good morning. So let's get started. Now, this particular salad, I have to tell you where it came from. Now, I'm going to try to move you in a little closer. I'm using a little different setup, so I may need to adjust every now and then, but that's okay because it's all about food. Now, the first thing I've done is that I didn't want to waste any time today because we've got three different things that we're going to do today, and they take a little bit of time. This is the fastest. Now, you're going to see that I have a can of, I'm using Libby's jumbo can of French-style green beans. And we're going to make a green bean salad. And I'm telling you, once you make this green bean salad and you take it to a function, you're going to find out how quickly everybody's going to say, oh, this is so good. What's the recipe? And the recipe is absolutely easy. Good morning to all of you. I can see you popping in. Now, I've got my bowl. And because when I went to the grocery, to be honest with you, the tomatoes did not look good. And the last tomatoes that I purchased tasted horrible. Our tomatoes were a little further north. And so because of that, the tomatoes are not tasting well yet. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm going to be using a can of diced tomatoes today. And while that's not my favorite thing to do, sometimes you just don't have a choice. So what I'm doing is that I'm draining that can of diced tomatoes. I've got it here in the colander, in the strainer. I also have my favorite Italian dressing. This is Kraft's Zesty Italian. I also like Ken's, but I like those that have a zesty flavor. And so anyway, I have my favorite dressing here. And like I said, I have a large can. Now, if I was going to a picnic, I need about 3 of these because that's how fast it goes. So I'm going to take the can and I'm going to pour it in. It has already been drained. So that's the reason why I can do that pretty quickly. And I'm going to throw this in the dish pan because, yes, I wash my cans before I put them into the recycle bin. I hate walking out to the recycle bin and it smells. Now, in addition to putting the green beans in, now that I've drained these tomatoes, I'm going to also put those tomatoes in. That's 1 can. And I think the 1 can is going to work, but I'm going to leave my colander there just in case. I have a half a tomato. I'm going to look at the quantity as we work through it. So I am just slicing these first into little half moons. And then I'm going to put all that together and give it a cut down. Very thin, because you want the onion small. You don't want anyone to really see large pieces of onion. So I'm taking my time here and trying to do it without cutting my hand. So I've got a little bit of the end that I will probably need to throw away. But now, you know, the little bit of tomato juice we have left, I got that in a container so I can save that, and we can use it later on in the week when we're preparing something with kind of a tomato base. So I'm just taking my time and getting these chopped up. I'm pretty sure that I'm probably not going to need all of this. Now I have to tell you the history behind this dish. When I first got married, my sister-in-laws had a little more experience in the kitchen than I did. And so because of that, we would go to picnics and go to those kind of things, and they would always have something that I would go, oh, where'd you get that? Where's the recipe? And they'd look at me and start laughing because they didn't have a recipe. So they would just kind of tell me what to do, and then keep working with it until it tastes the way you want it to. Now, the good thing about the zesty Italian dressing is that it's going to take care of those additional flavors that you need. Now, remember, I had a half of an onion. I'm going to take about half of that and place it into this dish. And because I don't want the onion to overpower the salad, you want it to have the onion flavor, but not so much so that, you know, you're looking at it going, oh my goodness, all I can taste is onion. So that's not what we want. So I'm breaking up the green beans themselves and putting the tomatoes all throughout those green beans. And it's a very pretty salad. Now, sometimes I do this with frozen green beans. Now, I like it because it has a fresher flavor. Everyone doesn't like it. So most of the time, I use the canned French green beans. So we've got those all mixed up, and that was just the perfect amount of onions. Now, this is one of those salads that you're going to fix it. You're going to put it into a container, and then you're going to put it into your refrigerator. It needs to marinate overnight. So I'm going to take, and only for your benefit, let me get a measuring. Well, I have a cup. I get a cup here. I can take out. Now, this measures exactly 1 cup, but I know we're not going to need a cup. So I'm going to start with about a half cup. I think that's going to be just enough. That's exactly right, a half cup of your favorite Italian dressing. And then you're going to take that and you're going to give it a good stir. Now, you know that I had a second can of diced tomatoes just in case, but we're not going to need that because, as you can see, we've got good color, a good mixture, a ratio between the green beans and the tomatoes. And the only thing I can think of, let me get another spoon, or even a fork at this point. Let me taste it. We may need just a touch of black pepper. Oh, that's good. We don't need anything. That's the advantage of the zesty Italian dressing. It really does give it a great flavor. Now, if you have children around, you might want to put a pinch of sugar. But for me, I don't want the additional sugar. So for that reason, I'm not going to do that. All right, so I have my snapware. And I'm going to put this into the snapware. And you know, I've been using quite a bit of snapware. I love snapware. Keeps your food when you're traveling. And it's great to have even when you're at a picnic, a summer event. Now, you're going to level this out and kind of give it a press so that all of those juices, all of the green beans and the tomatoes, I tell you, tomorrow, this is going to be the perfect dish. Now, actually, after a few hours, I could really use this evening since it's early, still in the day. But that's going to be ready. This is going to be served with some fried chicken and yum yum. The salad is done. Make sure I have it where it's supposed to be. All righty, we're ready to go. So this is going into the fridge, and you can just see those colors. Is that not pretty? Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. All right, salad taken care of. And since I'm here at the refrigerator, I'm going to go ahead and put the dressing in as well. Now we're going to move over. I'm going to move you over. And like I said, I'm using a little different setup today. So I'm going to move you over. And we're coming over into the baking area. Now you can see that over here in the baking area, I've got my KitchenAid. It's plugged in. I've got preps because we're going to put together some blueberry muffins. I tell you what, I got some blueberries that were so good, and they weren't too terribly expensive. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take those blueberries, and I had a banana that was just kind of getting to that point where I just didn't want to eat it, and neither did the big guy. So I'm going to throw a little banana in there, and we're going to have a little lemon in there. So our muffins are going to be very moist because that's what that banana is going to add to the muffins. Now, it's also going to add a bit of sweetness because it's a little past its prime, and as well as, of course, the blueberries are going to be delicious. So let's get started. Now, into my mixer, and the reason I'm starting here is because we need to make sure we have it all. Now, I don't know if you can see, but I grated some lemon because we want to have all of that, and I put it into the sugar because I want the sugar, and I'm stirring it again, I want the sugar to have that good lemony flavor all throughout it. And then once we do that, I'm going to put that into the blender and add the one whole stick of butter. You can decide if you want salted or unsalted. That part's up to you. Whatever. I normally only buy salted. And so because of that, I have to be careful with the salt that I put in additionally. All right, so we've got our lemony sugar that's going to go into the mixing bowl. Make sure I have all of that in. We need it all. This was, I'm not sure. I forgot. Okay, we had, let's see, I got my recipe here. We had 2/3 cup plus 2 tablespoons that are going into the mixing bowl. And I'll sit that over there for just a moment. I'm going to put in the melted butter. It's been softened, and I even put it in because I wanted it to come together pretty quickly. Now I'm going to let this blend. Now you could certainly do this by hand, but today, why not? Why not use the KitchenAid? So I'm going to put this, get it all set up, get it ready to go. All right, we're going to put it on low. Let's see who's here. Good morning, everyone. I see you in the kitchen, and you know, it's always fun to have you right here. So we took care of this salad, so we can take it to, actually, I'm just going to take it over to my daughter's house, and we're going to throw in all the dishes, and have some dinner. And then I thought, blueberry muffins, I think the kids will like that. So I've got blueberry muffins in the process of being made. Now, um, we're going to let this beat for about 3 minutes or so. If you were doing it by hand, of course, it wouldn't even be probably that long. But we're going to do that. Now, so I wanted to get nice and kind of fluffy and soft down there in the bowl. And then I'm going to add in 2 room temperature eggs. So it's coming together. Gotta put these out of the way. I'm stacking things up over there in the sink. So we'll work on that later. We won't worry about that. Now I'm trying to see if you can see. I've set up the muffin tins. These are the cutest little liners. They're little silvery liners, very blingy. I think because of all, you can see a little bit of the bling in there. But I'm a bling girl. So I have some bling muffin tins. This morning, you see my bagel. I haven't had a chance to eat it all, but we'll take care of that in the process because I wouldn't want to eat in front of you. Now over here, I have the banana, and I'm going to add the banana in and just let it get happy in there with the butter and sugar. I've already I have a bowl here that I've added in the flour. And in here, I put in the baking soda. I put in a little bit of salt. And that was all that needed to go in here. I stirred it to make sure that we had a good mixture of aminos, because what you don't want is a mouthful of baking powder. And this is baking powder, not baking soda. Baking powder. Okay. Oh, that's looking good. Now we're going to put in 1 egg. I hope we get 1 in. So let that beat. I've got a cup of milk. That's at room temperature also. Because when you're baking, room temperature is always important. Because if you're adding those ingredients, they're going to come together much faster if they're all pretty much the same temperature. So that's the reason why we have room temperature items. All right. Oh, that looks good. Now, let me get the other egg in. Got that mixed up. Have some lemon juice we're going to be adding in. And let me get my measuring spoon. I'm going to be a good girl. I'm not going to just pour because, sometimes I'll just kind of pour. Yes, it was 2 1/3 cups plus 2 tablespoons, Ronnie. You're absolutely right. Yep. I'm going to turn this up just a little bit. It's going to be a little noisy for a moment. But I will post this down in the description box so you'll have this recipe. It makes exactly 12 beautiful muffins. I have the oven on setting on 350. It's already at temperature. Okay. Now, I'm going to add in a couple of teaspoons of vanilla. 1. And you know what? I was almost exactly 2. So this one I'm going to have to throw away. And I have others. My favorite is Watkins, but I'm out of it. So I also like the vanilla that you get from King Arthur. They have delicious vanilla. But I'm trying to be more reasonable with my spending. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Yes, it is very bright. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm so thankful. I tell Big Guy all the time, thank you, thank you, thank you. This has been just wonderful for me. Now, we've got this going. I'm going to turn it off for just a second so you can hear and I can hear. Now, we're going to add in, I'm going to take the top off my milk, and I'm going to add in 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Now, you know what that's going to do to the milk. That's going to kind of curdle it just a little bit, but that's okay, because it's going to all go into our mixture. So I'm just giving all of that a stir. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is that I'm going to put in, I'm going to start this back up. Now I'm going to put in about 1/3 of the flour. Now we have 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Oh, good, Ronnie. You know, biscuits happen to be a learning process. Because my first few batches weren't that great either. But just keep trying, because you'll find out, oh, it's all about the feel of those biscuits. Okay, so we got the third in. I've added 1/3 of our liquid in, actually about half, because we're going to end with the flour. Give it just a moment. I don't want to overbeat it, so that's why I have it on low. Okay, I've got another bit of flour in. Now I'm going to stop it for just a second so I can make sure I have everything down in there. I'm going to use my spatula and clean off the sides. Okay, and let's get that going on low. And once that incorporates, we'll add in the rest of the milk and lemon juice mixture. There we go. And let that incorporate. You know, I really do like having the KitchenAid here rather than over in the corner over there. You know, I used to have it over in that corner, and it's just something about it being over in the corner that it kind of gets lost over there. So I don't use it as much. But because it's here, up front, and in my face, I'm using it more frequently. All right, I'm going to add the last of the flour in. Make sure I have all the flour on the bottom. For some reason, my bowl must have been a little damp. I didn't think it was, but it must have been, because I've got some of that flour down in there. All right. Now, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to take it off, and I'm just going to finish mixing by hand. Because we definitely don't want to overmix these, because this is where the fun part comes. We're going to put in those blueberries. Okay. Let me take that off. I'm going to put it over here, and then I'm going to bring you over there as well. All right, got you there. Okay, not sure you, yeah, you can see me. That's enough. You don't need to worry about whether or not you see me or not. Now, I have my cup of coffee. I've been working on my coffee for about an hour. So I'm going to take this, give it a good mix. Just using my spatula, just folding it over and over. The batter, keep this in mind, the batter is going to be thick and probably thicker than what you're used to, but that's okay. Now, I have blueberries. And I really didn't measure, I just got some. So here we go, got our blueberries in there. Now, you know, sometimes if you think about it in advance, you can flour your blueberries so that they'll stay at a certain point, especially if you're going to be working with a cake. You're going to want to flour those blueberries so they won't fall to the bottom. But because we're doing these little muffins, I'm not going to worry about that. So I am just folding this over. And there we go. Okay. Was that not easy? Oh my goodness. Now let me get our muffin tin. And let's see. I think I'm going to try my 1/4 cup measure and see if that works. Let me wash my hands. They're a little floury. And see if that 1/4, I think we'll probably need a little more than that, but we'll go through with 1/4 first and see how they fill up the muffin tins. I think actually we may get more than 12 out of this batch, but we'll see. I have been fighting allergies all week. I don't know about you all. This has been a terrible allergy season. In fact, it was so bad, I even went to the doctor because I thought I had a cold, and I just could not stop myself from, I just couldn't stop the nose from running. And you know, that's never fun. Now, here we go. It's a little smaller. You know, I love this little spatula. It works perfectly. This is my little Dollar Tree spatula. And I probably buy a new one about once every couple of years. But they're, I think they're Betty Crocker. And it works out great. So we've got our batter that we're going. What are you guys doing for the summer? Are you vacationing yet? The big guy and I hope to get out of here and get to do some fun things this summer. We got some plans, and if everything holds well, we hope to do a little bit of traveling. Can you all believe the problems they've been having with the airlines? It is just so upsetting, I think, because of the fact, you know, we've been in, and you know, you think about it, it's been almost 2 years that a lot of us really haven't done a lot of traveling unless you just had to, especially by airplane. And now that we can kind of get out, there are not enough people to keep everything going. So we're just making it through, but we're going to travel. We're going to go somewhere this summer. I'm going to get out of this house, out of this kitchen for a little while and do something fun. But when I go, I'll let you know where I am, what I'm doing, and let you see some of the fun things we do. We used to travel at least once or twice a summer with the kids, which was always a lot of fun. And we encourage them to do the same thing with their little ones. Get out and go. Get some fresh air. And you try to do something, I don't know, for the summer. I had the advantage of being home with the kids over the summer. Now, the big guy, of course, couldn't. He was in office. But I got to be the one at home. So we were at the pool every day. The lunch was packed, and we were ready to go. We had a schedule, and that was until they started swimming, and swimming in competitively in their swim team. And once they got involved in swim team, well, they kind of wiped mom out because they were gone to their swim team practices. So I became the chauffeur rather than the beach buddy sitting on the side of the pool. So that was a lot of fun, and certainly we have good memories of things that went on. In fact, last week, my daughter and her husband and the kids were over, and we were talking about the days of swim team and swimming and what we did during the summer, and their buddies that they met. And you know, it's funny how when you're in middle school and high school, you have friends that you're just inseparable with. And then it seems like once you go to college, everybody's in different directions. And so many of those people you don't see. So I am always very thankful to some extent for Facebook, Instagram, because I really do get to keep up with some of the kids who are almost like my kids, because they were here every day. And we had such a good time. We would play games, or they would get on the videos and video games and, you know, play their stuff. And I would just sit and watch and ooh and ah and giggle, which they were happy with that. And so now I have somewhat overloaded these because I want you to see. You know, I told you you would get 12 good muffins, and that's exactly what we've got. I'm looking at this right. Hey, Sin and Sue, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Ooh, that tastes good. All right, I'm gonna be good. I'm not gonna lick the bowl. Now it takes about 20 minutes for these. Now it was 20 minutes in my electric oven. So I have no idea how long it's going to take in my gas stove. So I'm going to put them in, and I'm going to check them in about 15 minutes and see if they're going to be ready. And we're going to do a little drizzle on top. Just to make those really good, because you know we can't do it. We just can't do them plain. We've got to kick it up a notch. And that's the fun part. Okay, now let me come over and see who's here, and then we're going to move on to the next part. Oh, Centric's going to Philly to visit her sister in August. Now, we haven't really traveled, the pandemic either. Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah, those are the cutest little trees that you see in the window. Do you see what she's talking about right there in the window? Those are from IKEA. And I don't know if you have an IKEA, but I got those pre-pandemic. Got those at IKEA, and the little cardinals I actually ordered off of Amazon. I don't know if you can see. I hate to bring you over here because you'll see my sink is full again, but you'll see the little cardinals that are on each side, and those are from Amazon. So those are good little finds that you get. Okay, now we have our salad that we've made. We've got the muffins. Ah, I didn't set the timer. Okay, let's get over here and get this timer set, girls. All right, I'm gonna bring you over. We're gonna do a little adjusting so you can see the stove. There we go. All right, now let's get this timer going. Cancel that. Okay, timer's going. Now, so we're going to put together, I had a little taste for something kind of Asian-y. I had some pork chops, and what I'm trying to do at this point is you don't have to, and I'm stopping. You don't have to do this with just pork. You can use chicken, you can use turkey, whatever kind of meat you like to have for Asian cooking. Now, I'm using pork because that's what I had, a pack of pork that I needed to use. And I'm trying to go through the freezer and the refrigerator and make sure that there's not any meat in those freezers that have been there too long. And you know, that's something you need to do. You need to make sure that you rotate so that your the meat that's been in the freezer for a little while, maybe about 6 months, pull that up to the top, use that first, and then use the rest of what you have. And that will help stretch your meal tremendously. So we're going to use some pork, like I said, that I had, and we're going to prepare what I call Asian pork chops. And so I've got my skillet here. I'm going to bring you a little closer. And in fact, probably a portion of this, you're just going to see the stove because that's more important. In fact, I'm going to have to bring you down. That microwave's getting in the way. Okay, now, there we go. So we've got our skillet, and let me go get the onion that we had. Now, I had a whole onion that I had over on the corner, and I had really planned to go ahead and cut it while we were cutting up the other onion for the salad, but I didn't do that. I can see I have a few sesame seeds from my bagel that are trying to drop into my skillet. Now, I'm going to turn my skillet up. I'm not going to put it on high. I'm going to put it on about a medium. So that's going to be about a 4. And I'm going to take this onion. I'm going to use the whole thing. So I'm cutting it in half. And see if we can make sure you can see. Bring you over. Okay, that may be even better. All right, got you here. All right, I'm taking that onion, and I'm going to take I cut it in half, and I'm going to take the half and cut it into 4ths. So we're going to have larger pieces. I'm going to do this second half. I'm not sure that we'll need it. We'll just see how it works out. But anyway, I've got a pack of that I got on sale. It was, well, this wasn't on sale, not really. They're boneless pork loin center cut chops. And this pack, let's see, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 little cut chops, little center loins. And I'll let you look at it. I'm just kind of taking it out of the wrapper. And I've got it on plastic because I didn't want you to, I don't want you to get in too much into the mix. But these little packs are probably about a half, each of these little cuts are about a 1/2 inch. And so, which makes it nice. So when you're fixing this for your family, actually, I'm going to get 2 meals out of that. I'm going to get one for tonight, which is going to be the one that we're going to prepare today. And I'm also going to take whatever's left over and use it in a stir fry later on during the week. So, but the meat itself will already be prepared. So I've got all of these pork loins here. And what I'm going to do, let me rinse. All right. Got to wash those hands when you're dealing with meat. Now we're going to season these, but they're going to simmer for a while. First, we're going to kind of get them toasted up, get them a little bit brown, and then we're going to add in the Asian seasoning, let it simmer, and then we'll start to add the vegetables that are going to go into this. And your meat's going to come out very tender. Now, let me show you something that I like to do. Anytime, which I did, I had the blueberries in the Ziploc bag. So I'm taking all of my trash and I'm putting it into the Ziploc bag and closing it up, getting air out, so that when I put it into my trash can, it's zipped up and you won't have any of the sometimes smells that you get that just kind of come about. So this has been rinsed off, and I'm going to take this whole container and drop it into the trash. Okay, that's gone. And I dry my hands. And I'm going to get out a little bit of house seasoning. And we're going to need some ground ginger. Now I have a little bit of ginger in our house seasoning, but I don't have a lot. And you know, when you're cooking any type of Asian cooking, you need some ginger. So I'm going to start with about a teaspoon that I'm going to sprinkle throughout these chops. And then I'm going to massage them. So yes, I kind of play in my food. So there we're sprinkling. Got one more, just with a little tap. Little tap. There we go. And I'm going to take these and I'm going to rub them together, because front and back, so that all parts of your chops are, it could be chicken thighs. If you had chicken thighs would be good. Or if you had breast halves, chicken breast halves, or even turkey, any of those, whatever it is that you like, then you could do this. In fact, I've even done it with salmon and, done it with fish. Okay, so we got everything rubbed up, but we're not quite finished yet, but I do need to wash the hands again. Now I'm going to sprinkle a bit of ginger, and I'm using powder rather than fresh today. I do have some fresh, but I thought the powder would probably work a little better. Just going to sprinkle a little bit in, and then we'll do one more massage. The bottle's not empty, it's clumping. You know, that's the only thing about seasoning. Sometimes they will clump. Here we go. We'll know that those muffins are ready when we can start to smell them. Okay. Let me not do that yet. I need to rub. Oh, the ginger smells good. Rub. And you know, I could have sprinkled all of this into a Ziploc bag and done it that way, and just left it overnight. But I didn't. Sorry, didn't do that. And besides, I wanted you to see what I was doing. So there we go. All right. Now, hopefully my skillet is hot. I'm going to turn you around to the skillet, and we're going to be ready to start to add our chops in. So let me get a fork. And my paper towel. There we go. And I'm just, you're going to hear the sizzle, I hope. Okay, it should have a little sizzle. You notice I haven't put any oil in yet. Now, these are not going to stay in long. So I'm going to start with 4. Give them just a moment. And while that's getting ready, let me take you through and show you. You know, we had the onion that we prepped the onion. And I'll push it back. We prepped the onion. I also took some of those little mini bell peppers that you get in the little package, and I cleaned them, and I'm just going to, I cut them in half, actually 4. And so now what I'm going to do is because I want the pieces large, so you're ending up with a piece about that size. So you take the whole pepper, cut it in half, cut it in 4, and of course take the seeds and the membrane out. And if you have a little tiny one, you don't even need to cut, but you want those little bite-sized pieces. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of putting them into bite-sized pieces. Also, I'm going to throw in some celery that I need to use. I've got that there. Now, by the time we finish putting these in, we should, I had a few, like this one was a little short one. So because of that, I don't have to do much with that other than I just put him in the 4. So that was it. He's long enough. So I had some pieces. So if you have stuff that are still just a little larger than what you want to put in your mouth at a bite, then go ahead and give them a chop. But you, like I said, you don't want them tiny. And they are nice and sweet. Okay, so that's done. Keep that there. Got my fork. Let's see what you're doing. See? All right, so we're going to flip them over. Just enough to get a little color to them. So there we go. There's 1, there's 2. Now, they're not done. I'm going to go ahead and add 1 more because I've got a somewhat odd number of chops. So we're kind of squishing those in. Okay, there we go. So now we've got 5 in, and I've got 5 over here. Let's see what everybody's talking about while that's working. Oh, that's a good idea. Elizabeth is saying, I don't know who can see. Let's see if I can get it to show. There we go. She's saying that she freezes her onion peels as well as other vegetable scraps. And she makes vegetable broth with it, or she adds them to her chicken bones when she's making chicken stock. That's a great idea, Elizabeth. Great idea. Great idea. Trying to think. It was Sue. Sue I was talking to earlier, and we were talking about that one plan, 1 month that for June. And there are about 3 or 4 dishes that you all are going to see soon that we're going to do right here in the kitchen together. So I'm looking forward to that. As you can see, I already got flour in the front of me. So, but that's okay. Everything cleans up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a plate so that I can put these chops off to the side. Now, let me peek at our muffins. Oh, yeah, that's working. It's working. They're going to stay in their little muffs, their little tops. All right, so I'm going to take these out. I'm going to put them over there. They've gotten good color. I don't, you never, never, never. Okay, I already know that they need, so we gave them 15. Let's try 5 more minutes. Okay, we're going to give them about 5 more minutes. All right, so that's the first 4. This one needs to stay a little longer because he's not quite ready. And I'm going to go ahead and start adding the other chops in. Like I said, this is going to be enough. And when you're preparing a dish like this, always think, what else can I do with it? So while you're cooking, you can prep now, get the major portion of that dish already prepared and have it sitting and waiting for you later. Now, so let's see. You're absolutely right. I am trying to watch that budget because I tell you what, I have looked at those numbers and let me tell you, when I went to the gas station the other day, I nearly fainted. I have a SUV and never, never, never in the 4 years that I've had it have I ever had to spend over $40 to fill it up. And oh my goodness, it ticked on past $50 and just kept going. I thought I was going to faint. I'm going to have to get another job just to buy gas. Lord have mercy. It is just crazy. And for those of you who are in other countries, I know when we went to Spain, gas was high. Or at least on my level, I thought gas was extremely high. And now we're looking at those prices here in the United States. So it is a force to be reckoned with, in my words. And I don't know what we're going to do about it. I'm not sure. You don't want to think that gas companies are gouging, because of the pandemic. Everything was quiet. You didn't do a lot of driving. A lot of people weren't driving because of the fact that so many people were working from home. And so when you think about that, I recognize the fact that people were not buying as much gas, as they would normally buy. But do you have to kill us now? It's like, please. The other day, I think it was Wednesday, I had gone to, I'm proud of myself. I made a commitment to volunteer at the food bank. And let me tell you why. During the pandemic, the big guy and I were out, and I don't know where we were going, just running some errands. But we happened to see at the elementary school that's close to us that there was this line that had wrapped all through our neighborhood. And that line, it was a line of people waiting, trying to get food at the food bank. And, there are still so many people who don't have food, or they have very little. And by the time they pay their rent, if they have an option of paying rent, and pay for the things that they need for their family and their children, the food budget, especially now, is getting pretty tight. And so our church has made a commitment to do some volunteer things. And so I'm committed to work in the food bank. Now I've got two more chops that I'm working on here. And once these two are done, we'll be ready to move on to the next top. But anyway, so on Wednesdays, I go and I help to stock the shelves. That's with canned goods, with juices, with baby food, with cereal, all kinds of cereal, oatmeal, you name it, with pastas, and pretty much it's like a grocery store in there. So if someone really needs something, they can come to the food bank and they will fix them a nice basket of food. Now, I'm adding just a touch of oil so you can see, because we're going to need that oil for our vegetables in just a second. So I'm adding about a tablespoon of oil. Now, our muffins are looking good, but they need to have a little bit of browning on top, just a little bit. So I'm going to give them 5 more. And at the end of that 5, regardless of what they look like, they're going to come out because I don't want them dry. Now, so we have, so we went and I try to spend about 2 hours at the food bank. And fortunately, we have some ladies from church. And actually, when I was working and they were home, they were going to the food bank anyway. So, or they were going to work and volunteer. And I tell you, it is such a blessing. And yesterday, the men of the church had started going over to the food bank, and they were actually pushing grocery carts. And it's a system that they go through, and you push the grocery cart. People are putting food into the grocery cart. You come back around, you load it into the back of people's cars. And this is every Friday. So I thought, well, I'll go with the big guy. And I tell you what, when we drove up, I know there were between 400 and 500 cars in line to receive food. It was absolutely heartbreaking. And it was all I could do to keep from crying. That's the truth. And so I thought, wow, this is where, we need to work. So I'm good with that. Now, let me turn you down before I really get emotional with this, because, when we talk about food and we talk about spending for food, we are so blessed to have food in our refrigerators, to have food, to even have an extended pantry. That in and of itself is a blessing. Now, I've got my skillet on, it's nice and hot. I've added in a little bit of additional oil. I'm going to start with the onions. I'm going to pop those in. And I think I'm going to put the whole onion in. So I'm going to get all of that in there. And I have a spoon. There he is. Okay, so we're going to start getting this onion cooking. I'm going to try to break it up. And if it doesn't break on its own, I'm going to go in and break it up with my hands. Okay, get those broken apart, and I want this as hot as possible because it's not going to stay in here long. Not at first. We're kind of putting the goodies on the bottom of the pan so that they can, and I'm going to let these brown up just a little bit. So I've got the onions in there. I'm going to add in the celery. We've got 3 stalks of celery that I've cut into about 1 inch pieces. So I'm going to let all of that start to brown a little bit. I'm going to add the peppers in as well. And we're going to let all of that get good and toasty. This is one of those meals that you can put together very quickly. So I've got all of those vegetables in. And I'm just going to let them saute for just a moment. And at this point, I'm not going to add any salt or any pepper because we're going to add a few things to this mixture. Now I turned the fire down because it was the skillet was pretty hot to almost low, because now I'm going to add in, I found this sauce that, I don't know if you can see it, but it's by Zhang, and it's called a classic sauce, a classic stir fry sauce. And I'm going to try it out. Smells good. You can smell the seasonings, the bean paste, all of that. You can smell all of that. I'm going to put some of that in. I'm going to add in just a touch, about 2 tapfuls of rice wine vinegar. And even at this point, because I know there's a little soy in that classic sauce, I'm not going to add any soy, any soy to that yet. Whoops, one jumped away. Oh yeah, we're ready. Let me get my mint. And you know, I guess because, oh, they're done. Let me get another mint. Yeah, I got 2. I want to burn myself, which I'm notorious for doing. Okay, we got our muffins out. Okay. Cancel. The clock is off, so it will stop keeping up so much noise. Now, so we have our vegetables in here. I'm going to add just a little bit of heat. I'm letting them mix in with the mixture, so they'll get those flavors. Now, I'm going to take, okay, we put them in, we got them mixed up. Now, I'm going to take all of that out because I don't want to overcook them. But I did want those flavors to get down into the skillet. So we got the onions, the peppers, the celery, all of that. We'll put all this back in at the last minute. So I'm taking all of that out. There we go. Get all of that out. Oh, this skillet smells wonderful. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to put the chops back in. We're going to add just a little more moisture, and we're going to let those cook and simmer. Okay, but I want my vegetables to stay pretty crisp, because that's what you do when you're doing an Asian meal. You want to keep it special and keep them nice, and there we go. So I'm going to take all of these, including the juices, and I'm putting them into this skillet. Okay, everybody's in the pool. Now, I'm going to add a little more sauce, classic sauce. Now, basically, let me tell you what's in the sauce. The sauce has, it has soy, the soy sauce. It has bean paste. It has some rice wine vinegar in it. I just added a little extra. And that's about it. So we're going to take a little bit of this. And as you can see, it's pretty thick. So because of that, in just a moment, I'm going to add just a dash of water. And in fact, I'm going to use most of this bottle, if not all. And I think what I'm going to do is to just take a little bit of water, put it in this bottle, and shake it up. And that's going to give us the liquid that we need for these pork chops to cook and to simmer. And then the last 5 minutes or so, we will add the vegetables back. So I'm going to turn this up because I do want them to cook. I'm going to put it on a medium. I'm going to let them simmer. And I'm going to let all of this liquid cook down so that we'll end up with a nice sauce. So every now and then I'll come over and just baste it. Baste it with its own juices, the own sauce. Turn it up so it can cook because I want that to come together. Now, while that's coming up and getting bubbling, we're going to go over here and we're going to work on the drizzle that's going to go on those muffins. So come over here with me. Let me get you back to where I had you. Bring you in a little closer. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we are going to put together a little drizzle. I'm going to do it right here in a little clean coffee cup. I'm going to take some powdered sugar. I'm going to take about a quarter of a cup. This is a 1 cup measure. So I've got some in, and all I'm going to do is to add in some lemon juice. That's where I'm going to start because I want it very lemony. Okay, so that was probably about 3 or 4 tablespoons of lemon juice. Let me get a spoon. Better yet, I better get a fork because I want this to come together. And I'm just going to mix. Now, if it gets too loose, which I think it is, because I got happy with the lemon juice, we'll add in a little more until you get it the balance that you want. You know, saying God does bless us all for every prayer that we pray and everything that we can possibly do that helps to take care of His children. And so that's where we're working. We're trying to do that. Now I need just a little more. Just about there. I want it as a drizzle, not so much like an icing. So it's not going to be thick, but then it's not going to be running either. You kind of have to play with it. And this is definitely no recipe, but I'll find a recipe. I do have a recipe for the drizzle, but I'm not using it today. I'm just doing it off the top. I want it a little bit thicker than that. Okay. I really did get carried away with that lemon juice, didn't I? Okay. Oh, that's better. I can feel it. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's perfect. We're going to give it a real good mix because we don't want any of that powdered sugar clump. Oh, yeah. All right. Now, let me get a towel, arm pad, that I'm going to sit the muffins on because they're still hot. And actually, I could probably do this once they're a little cooler, but The pan's cool enough to where I can touch it. But I'm going to do them right here on the pan. And I think what I'm going to do is to get a skewer, because I kind of want this to go down into the muffin. So I'm just taking my skewer and I'm punching little holes in the muffin. So this drizzle can go all through this muffin. Now, as far as time baking, it took over the 20 minutes that I expected. And I think that was because I kind of loaded the muffin tins. I could have probably gotten a few more muffins out of it, but 12's enough for what I'm doing. So I'm just going through punching holes in. So as I put this drizzle in, it's going to soak into our muffins. Look. It took about 25, almost 30 minutes for these to bake. And this one was a little smaller, so I can tell how it feels as to how much it needed to cook. So I'm going to take it by a spoon and I'm going to drizzle. And like I said, I'm keeping it on the pan because I want these to soak up that drizzle. So I'm going to try to make sure that I put a little drizzle where the holes are. I'm going to let them soak that lemony flavor in. I'm going to let these sit here, and I'm going to go back a second time because I think I have enough to make sure. And it's just going to have a little glaze to the top. This is not an icing. This is more of a sauce, what I call it, a sauce of such. And we're going to put on our muffin. You can see it's pretty loose. Now I could certainly go back at the end and tighten it up, put a little more sugar in. And as these cool, part of the running is because of the fact that they're still wet. But that's when you want to do your sauce, while they're still nice and warm, because they will soak up all of this goodness. So when you go back that last time to put these on, that's when you're going to really start to see the glaze. I can hear our pork chops simmering while we're doing this. Nice and bubbly. We're going to finish these up today. And okay, so we've gone through the first time. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to give these a chance to soak up what we have. I'm probably going to thicken this up just a little bit more. And then that way, when I put it in this next time, oh, that's good. It's going to be just a little thicker. More like an icing. And you can see how that's changed and how much thicker that is. Much, much thicker. Okay, so we're going to let these cool off a little while. So we're going to go over here and look at our chops, because they're not going to take long, because we had already done what we needed to do. Okay, so that's ready. Once this cools, I'm going to get a sip of coffee. And let's come on over and see what we're doing. There we go. I'm going to get both me and it in. Okay, so you can see our mixture is bubbling, And the good news is I'm going to be able to turn this stove off. Woo! It was hot. Now, what I'm doing is I'm just taking our sauce and I am saucing up these chops. It's funny how some parts of your skillet get a little hotter than others, but this mixture is going to reduce enough into basically a thick glaze. That's what you're going to get. So there we go. We got those in. Like I said, we're not going to add the vegetables in. I'm going to kind of flip our chops around because I don't want the ones at the bottom to get all the sauce. We got to let everybody have some. So I'm going to put everybody's time in the sauce. I'm going to trade them out. And that one's in, this one's out. This one's out, but we need them in. So there we go. That's in and out. Switch places. So everybody's happy down in that sauce. Take the one that's down here. And they're done at this point. They're just getting juicy down in this sauce, getting that Asian sauce all throughout. Turn that over. This one has been on the bottom quite a while, so I'm going to take it out. Okay. So what you're going to do is that basically you're going to let this, and I'm going to try to bring it up without making a total mess. I'm going to let these really do a hard bubble just because I want you to be able to see it. But we're going to bubble this, get it down to a sauce, and see if we can evaporate some of the liquid. And while that's happening, we will, gives us a chance to talk a little bit. But guys, I'm telling you, I wish you could smell this kitchen. These smells are amazing. Now, you know, one thing I did not put in this that I normally put in is, this is a product you find in the Asian section called chili garlic sauce. It's red chili garlic sauce. And if you like a little kick and you like a lot of garlic, that is something you definitely want to do. But because I had so much garlic in my house seasoning, I didn't add any additional garlic. Now I can tell because I'm close that the juices are thickening up. And that's what I want them to do, because I'm going to serve this tonight over rice. And I want to be able to have a little bit of juice or a little bit of gravy to go over that rice. So I'm letting these bubble, and I'm just taking it and basting it because I do not want my chops to be dry. You do not want dry chops or dry meat, period. Whether it's chicken, especially if you have chicken breast can get dry very quickly. And even your fish, you don't want to overcook it. So in that case, you probably will want to just kind of hold out. But I can play with this because it is pork. Now I can see that my sauce is almost as thick as it was in the bottom. I just have way more of it. So I'm taking that and I'm basting because I want these to be so yummy. There we go. Now, tomorrow at church, it's going to be fun. Our youth have been, the youth of the church have been worshiping virtually because there's so many of them that if you bring them into a room, there's just no way we can social distance. There's not enough room. So, or even think about, it's just too close, in other words. So what we're doing is that we're going to be able to bring the children back into the church for their regular Sunday service. So we're having a throwdown for the kids tomorrow. And the kids are going to be in charge of service. They're going to do everything. And they're so excited. They're going to be doing the singing. They're going to be doing all the prayers, the scripture, everything tomorrow. And then afterwards, we're having a little picnic outside, weather permitting. And we're going to also celebrate with the graduates, whether it's college or high school or whatever it is that they're graduating from. And we're going to celebrate that tomorrow as well. So I am really looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And so we're enjoying that. All right, guys, we are ready. Now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to turn the heat down to low. And I'm just going to sprinkle on top these vegetables that we had. And I want to make sure I get all of that goodness back in there too. Now, how much cooking of these vegetables that you opt to do, that is up to you. Now, the big guy likes his vegetables pretty au naturel. So I'm really not going to push them too far down into it. In fact, I'm going to turn the heat off. And because I want most of the vegetables to hold their texture. And just going to let them get enough heat. The celery in particular, the celery can handle the heat of the sauce. So I'm going to take that and I'm just going to spread that around so you can see all those vegetables. And while I'm doing that, I'll do a little basting over it because we want them to marry with everything else that's going on in the pan. So as you can see, this is a tight pan. I probably should have used the larger skillet, but that's okay. We're good. Okay. We got our chops. We got our vegetables. We could have added carrots. I didn't have any whole carrots. I just had it shredded. Shredded would not work in this dish. So we're doing without that. We're using what we have. So there we go. We got our chops. I'm going to try to bring you in a little closer so you can see this mixture. See what it looks like. So there it is. Now, purposely, I am not, this is, as you can see, we sauteed it. The flavor's good. I'm going to get a piece of a pork chop out, and we're going to test it out and see if it's ready as well. All right, let me get I got my bowl here. I need a knife. Cut a little piece off. So, after all, the cook needs to know what the meal's going to taste like. So I'm going to put it here in the bowl. I'm going to cut that up. Oh, man, it's nice and tender. It's just that cutting in a bowl is not the easiest thing to do. Need a flat surface. All right. So let me see. Oh, they are good. Well, I don't know. I got this at Kroger. It's called Stir Fry Classic Sauce. And, I'm thinking once I fix the rice, put all this goodness over that rice, it is going to be so good. So, and this is by what's called Zang, T-S-A-N-G. That's the name of the company, Zang Classic Sauce. And it's delicious. So look for that. What a time saver. And I didn't pay over $3 for that bottle. So you figure $3 for that. That was $12 for the pork chops, but we're going to get 2 meals out of it. So figuring about $6 per meal, and the $3, it's another $1.50, so it's about $7.50. And then some rice, less than $10 for a good meal. I love it, love it, love it. All right, guys. So our skillet is ready. Let's go over here. We're going to finish up those muffins, get the last layer of icing on that. And then you're going to be ready to say, hasta la vista, I know, because you got things to do. All right, so let's, taking the fork out, got my thickened icing. And I'm going to take it and just kind of drizzle each of the cupcakes up the muffins. Drizzle a little bit on each one. So this layer is more like an icing. So we're just drizzling. All right. We're going to drizzle, drizzle, drizzle. Do a little spreading. We're going to let these sit. And you know I'm going to take pictures so you'll get to see the finished product. Because I know this is Saturday and you got lots of things to do. Saturdays are always busy, whether you work in home or out. You know, this is the day to get it done. Okay. I mean, these little rascals are soaking up that icing. And one more. Finish off the last. There. And on. Let me get the last of it out of the container. You know, we don't want to waste. Okay. Now that looks a little messy right there. Once we put them on a plate, this is going to look good. And you know, I've got cleanup to do before we start to even think about pictures. And I'm going to bring you over here so I can chit chat for a little while and kind of get you down where I can talk and see what you're saying, because you know I'm going to need my glasses on. And let me grab those. Put them right here. There we go. Now, we've been busy. Yes, Ronnie, we're going to have leftovers, and it's going to be great. So I hope all of you have enjoyed today. I certainly have. And, you know, we're always busy right here in the kitchen. Elizabeth, thank you so much. Elizabeth said those muffins are calling her name. And you know what? I have to admit, They're starting with 12, but probably by the time they get to the plate, it's going to be 11 because, I'm going to have to check it out. And it may only be 10 because the big guy's going to want some with another cup of coffee. And I am just looking forward to today and the rest of this day. The sun is coming out. It was a little cloudy. We started off a little cloudy, but it's okay. It's okay because it's all about the sunshine in you. So I am just enjoying today, enjoying your presence, and I certainly hope that you have an absolutely amazing weekend because we've all got great plans and fun things to do. And so as you think about this week, let me ask the question. Now, I know one person who's on here, she actually answered this question. Look at the menu plan for the one plan, 1 month, and think about one of those dishes that you, at least one, that you'd like to see prepared on Saturday, whether, no matter what it is. Now, one person's already given me their thoughts, and I'm not calling you out. So if you're on here, I'm not going to tell them who you are until the day we do that particular dish. But I try to come up with some new and interesting dishes that you may enjoy. And certainly, especially, I do a lot of research when I'm trying to put together our meal plan for a month. And I don't know about you, but sometimes because, dishes that I think are only going to make it one time, one sitting, may end up making it twice. And so, which is nice because that saves a little bit of time and money. But I really count on pretty much 30 meals. And if we happen to go out, then woohoo. And if not, I know I've got a good meal planned for that particular day. So tell me in the comment box or in the box here, what are some of those meals that you might like to see prepared on Saturday morning or on Wednesday? Because, Wednesday, while at this point on Wednesday, usually it's a premiere, so it's not live, but I may rethink that. And we may actually, if everything works out, we may actually cook on live on Wednesday as well. And which would be a lot of fun, something different for the summer. We got to kick it up. This is our tropical paradise, and we are bringing the tropics as much as possible into our hearts and into the kitchen. And if we get to the tropics, fantastic. And if we're just at the neighborhood pool, that's good enough for me. So I hope that you guys are safe, that you have a wonderful weekend. And remember, do something for someone else every time you have an opportunity, whether it's to cook them a meal, whether it's to load a basket of food and put it into their car, or whether it's to make a donation to a food bank or to a homeless shelter near you. And you don't have to have an organization. They just need people to help. And there are willing people who are at those locations and they're asking, please, we just need help. And so I'll tell you this before I cut off today. Yesterday, it was a blessing to see. We have an Army base that's not too far from where we live. And what they're doing is that they're sending a platoon each Friday to help out with the distribution of food. Those kids were amazing. They were so cute. They were so funny. And, they hovered around all of us like we were their parents. And I think they missed family. And it was nice just being able to have a conversation with them and to see where they're from. I met several from California, one from Hawaii, and kids coming from everywhere, all walks of life, all different directions. But you know, their hearts are in the right place, and they worked. They worked hard, and they worked right there side by side with us as hard as they could. I was so proud of them, and it was so good to see. So, mwah, 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 to those of you who are part of the Ebony Idea Time family, and mwah, 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 to those of you who are new, and mwah, mwah, to those of you who are just hanging out with us today. It's okay. But if you're hanging out with us, please take the time to hit that little thumbs up. Let me know that you like what you're doing. And if you don't mind, hit the subscribe button, because I'd love to have you as a part of the family. So have a blessed weekend. And you know, we are definitely over time today, but that's okay. We got a lot of cooking done. So in about 30 to 40 minutes, the community page is going to be filled and you'll be ready to go. So love you, and I'll see you soon.